You can't tell me you're not feeling nostalgic right now. Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Trainer Green. Here at the Everything Anime Podcast, we talk about everything from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and whatever relevant topic we're talking about. Today's video is on Nintendo. Where is Pokken Tournament 2? Now, this isn't so much a game review as it is talking about my thoughts on a sequel to Pokken Tournament, which is a game that came out when the Wii U came out, actually. The Wii U wasn't very popular. The Wii U was one of the worst systems I ever owned. However, we did get a great game. We got Super Smash Bros. U. We got Mario Kart U. Mario Party was kind of bad. Only games I ever owned on that system. And then Pokemon DX came out, which was Pokken Tournament, but it had like 5 additional characters, which was pretty cool, and some DLC. So, when I do my game reviews, I like to talk about my relationship with the game and then, talk about the game and things like that. Where, again, arena fighters aren't really something to, really get into a large detail about. Because it's basically talking about the characters, the fighting. There's usually some kind of story, but not usually with arena fighters. It's just, unlock characters like Smash Brothers. Like, Smash Brothers did have a story back in, I think the one on the Wii, and then I guess you can call Melee somewhat of a story. It had an adventure mode. But yeah, Pokken Tournament, it does have a story. It's basically about unlocking Shadow Mewtwo, but that's what we're here to talk about. So before that, I want to talk about my relationship with Pokemon in general. So when I was a kid, I had got my first Pokemon game on the Nintendo Game Boy. I think it was Pokemon Blue. Now, if you aren't familiar with, if you're not a 90s kid, if you're not familiar with Pokemon Blue and Red, when we were kids, there was 2 versions of Pokemon that came out. One was called Pokemon Red with Blastoise on the cover. The other one was Pokemon Red with Charizard on the cover. And 2 things can be true. I didn't know this as a kid. I learned this later as an adult. But apparently back in the 90s when they first created this, yes, it could have been for money to make, get kids to buy both copies. But the other reason I've heard is that there are exclusives in Red that you cannot get in Blue. There are exclusives in Blue that you cannot get in Red. Like, say, for example, you want to catch a Growlithe in Red. A Growlithe does not exist in Red. A Growlithe exists in Blue. And say you want to catch an Abra in Blue, you can't catch an Abra in Blue. An Abra's in Red. The reason I heard that they did that was because you might be a new kid in elementary school. You don't know how to talk to other kids, but you have a Game Boy. You're playing Pokemon Blue. I have a Game Boy. I'm playing Pokemon Red. And I just come up to you. I'm like, oh, you like Pokemon 2? You're like, yeah, I like Pokemon 2. And this is before the anime came out. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, look at my Growlithe. And you're like, what's a Growlithe? I've caught all the Pokemon in Pokemon Red. And they're like, oh, well, here, I've never seen it, but here, look at my Abra. What's an Abra? I never seen an Abra before. I have Pokemon Blue. It was to get kids that never talked to each other to talk, because that introduces trading back and forth to the gaming cables and things like that. And I thought that was really cool, if that's true. It might not be, but I like to believe that's my headcanon as well. I do believe that, someone somewhere was like, hey, we can make money by, putting exclusives in 2 different games and get kids to buy both. But it also can be true that you get 2 kids to talk to each other that never talked before because they both like Pokemon. Because especially back in kindergarten and elementary school, that's the easiest way to make friends. You know, as an adult, you can't just go up to somebody and be like, hey, you want to be friends? But as a kid, you could do that. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, so my first game was Pokemon Blue, which was my favorite. I also got a Pokedex from back then. This one does not work. It just has a sticker of Trico. As you can tell, my favorites are grass-type starters. I'm not a grass-type trainer. I ain't crazy, okay? But grass types are my favorite starters. And if I had a team, I'll go ahead and tell you my team now. My team exists of Sceptile, Desudai, who I call Green Arrow. Okay, if you know, you know. Hitmontop, love him. I forgot that purple guy with the guitar from one of the generations. That purple lizard thing. Totodile, and lastly be Primate. Kyogre. I would probably make my team and Raichu. Raichu, he's also back there, up there. My team would be interchangeable, but I've also thought about being a gym leader. Like, if I was a gym leader, I want to be gym leader number 8. My gym would be called the Heart Gym. Like, if you come to my gym, we don't have a Pokemon type. When you enter the gym, you come in here and you could face Sceptile, you could face Desudai, because they're going to be interchangeable. It just depends, because we use Pokemon that we love in this gym. And so all the trainees and people you battle on the way, they're not going to have a specific type. So I really always loved that idea. And I would also be in the Hoenn region, because that's where Trico was first shown up, and Pokemon Sapphire was actually my favorite. If I went through the list of all the Pokemon games I ever owned, it would be Blue, then Yellow. I never got to play Yellow because my Yellow copy had got messed up after my mom had got it for me. I played Yellow later down the line, which is more closely accurate to Ash's story. But yeah, I had Blue, Yellow, then Silver because I like Lugia, Sapphire because I love Kyogre. Kyogre's my legendary. This is where it gets kind of confusing. I know I had Diamond at one point. I don't remember the order, but Diamond. Then Sun because I like the lion. X because of Xerneas. I like Xerneas over Yveltal. Zord because I like the dog. Scarlet because I like the red dragon over the purple one. No, I think I own Violet. I like Violet over Scarlet. There's some other generations that I skipped. White, I liked Zekrom over Reshiram. And that might have been all the generations. If I skipped one, I'll correct myself in the comments. But anyways, as you can tell, like, I have a strong relationship with Pokemon. I even own the badges. And I've met Veronica Taylor. I have a picture of her up here. I'll take it down and show you guys. This woman is incredibly nice. Veronica Taylor is the original voice of Ash. I really loved her. She's such a sweetheart. And Raichu is my favorite over Pikachu. I feel like Raichu should have had way more screen time than he did. I really hate that Raichu didn't. I can't put him anywhere. I'll put him on top of my hat if he'll stay there. But yeah, so I've been a huge fan of Pokemon my entire life. Pretty still nostalgic for it. Pretty still nerdy. But yeah. And so now I guess I'll get into how I got into Pokken Tournament. When I first saw this game, I wasn't actually interested in buying it, but I had saw like a bunch of people talking about the fighting and stuff like that, and there was some controversy about Blaziken. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna talk about that, but it made it look like Blaziken had what junk was showing, but it wasn't. It was just part of him it was part of his design. But anyways, yeah, I eventually played it, and then me and my friends loved it. And this review actually was meant to be done with Kevon, my best friend, or Sentakai, who would be, as he would be known on this channel, but we just never got to do it because he lives in Florida, I live in Louisiana now, so we didn't get a collab. But I mean, yeah, I guess that's all the backstory. We'll start getting into the game and then my thoughts of what I would change into the game. But just I like to talk about a relationship with Pokemon and things like that. And I still play Pokemon to this day. If Pokemon releases another game, I will guarantee go out and buy it. Also, the background footage is not me playing it. I do own a copy of Pokemon DX, as you can see. But again, aside from PlayStation that I can stream and record games, I don't know how to record my own gameplay for Nintendo. So for now, I'll be using clips off of YouTube. The first half will probably be Desudai fighting, and the second half will be Sceptile fighting because they're my favorite 2 starters. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So, there are 23 characters in Pokken Tournament. They start with Charizard, Pikachu, Mewtwo, Lucario, Pikachu Libre. It's given Cat in the Hat when he was like, you can call him Thing One. I'm gonna just play that clip.
Oh yeah!
Thing 1, Comrade Sally, thing 1. Thing 2, Comrade Sally, thing 2. Thing 1, thing 2, thing 2, thing 1, Comrade Sally, Conrad, I am the cat.
Don't belittle me.
Ah, yes, of course. Thing 2 would like to clarify that just because he wears the number 2 does not imply in any way that he's inferior to Thing 1.
And all of the above.
He says you may feel free to call him Thing A if you like. He will also accept Super Thing, King, Kid Dynamite, Chocolate Thunder, or Bad.
Chocolate Thunder or Bad. That's what Pikachu Libre gives me. And then we've got Machamp, Gengar, Shadow Mewtwo, which is the basic evil villain of the story, the final character you're supposed to unlock. Scizor, Suicune, Sceptile, Blaziken, Gardevoir, Impeleon, Garchomp, Croagunk, Weavile, Darkrai, Chandelure, Braixen, Desudai, Aegislash, and Blastoise. Now, I know some of them are unlockable, but I think 5 of them were DLC or so like that. And so we will be adding characters later that I would throw into this game that I feel like would fit into a game like this, as well as their supporting characters, because you also have assist characters that can help you fight in battle. But before that, we're going to talk about the special moves of the game. So to use their specials, it's called Synergy Burst. In Pokken Tournament, you can use the Synergy Gauge. The Synergy Gauge is a meter that builds up during battle. When it's full, the Pokemon attributes are greatly powered up, allowing them to activate Synergy Burst. Think of it like Xenoverse when not Xenoverse, Dragon Ball Z when a character fully charges up and like they can use their special move, or Sparking Mode. Think of it like Sparking Mode. That's the basic way to say it. And then, in Sparking Mode you can use your ultimate attack for a finisher. That's what these basically are. These are Pokemon finishers. They can use this state multiple times per match, so long as they build up the gauge, and while in this state, they can also deal their most powerful attacks. I'll show off some of these gameplay of them. My favorite one is always going to be Sceptile slash Desudai, because one, I love how Desudai, again, green arrow, you're going to see it in the background, and then Sceptile, this is not even a move that's in the game, but he uses like some kind of torpedo tail thing. I mean, in the show, they might have used it in the show when he's in Mega Sceptile form, but like I've never seen it in the game. But I call it torpedo tail. I was like, oh yeah, you're the reason. You two are the reason why y'all are my favorites. And I wish Raichu was in the game. I really should. I might throw Raichu back on, but because we got Pikachu Libre, maybe not. But I would add Raichu to the game. But we'll get to my characters that I added in here as well in a bit. Now, let's talk about the assist characters. The assist characters don't necessarily fight, but they aid the player in attacking, disrupting, or enhancing. So, assist characters, like in Sparky Zero, like in any fighting game, even Mortal Kombat, they can show up, they can do a little damage, and then they flee away, or they can interrupt your opponent's attacks, or they can take the brunt of your opponent's attacks, or they'll give you a boost in health. So, attacking basically is going to deal damage, or it'll allow you to start a combo. Like, after your opponent gets hit, the assist character comes in, and they're like, hey, alright, I'm gone. Follow up. Disrupting pushes opponents back, usually by a defensive or reversal move. Again, this can, like, if you're getting whomped by your opponent, getting, like, destroyed by the opponent character, summon your partner, they'll, like, push the opponent back. You could also block, but this is just, like, another way to do that. And enhancing grants a buff, boost of synergy energy, or heals some kind of HP. A buff could be, like, increased attack, increased defense, increased speed, increased jumping power, which I just found out was a thing. I didn't know there was a jumping power thing. But some characters fight in midair, some characters can do like a double jump. And I'll try to utilize that later when I introduce the characters that I'm going to add in here. But for now, let's talk about the assist characters we do have. So we've got first Litten and Popplio. Litten uses Fire Fang to nullify long distance attacks and grows in power the more HP or the lower HP you have. So the more weak you are when you send out Litten, his Fire Fangs can do a lot more damage. While Popplio uses Bubble to enhance jumping a second time while in midair and increases your jumping and increases your attack stat. This is why I said I didn't know that there was a jumping thing, second jumping mechanic, because like I mean, we jump, yeah, but like I wasn't paying attention to that, and I don't think I used Litten and Popplio like that. Next up is Emolga and Finnegan. Emolga uses Shockwave to decrease the opponent's speed, whereas Finnegan uses Ember to push opponents back. So Emolga is going to be your disruptor. He's slowing down your opponent's speed. And then, or I guess he's an enhancer too, because it's affecting stats. And then Finnegan is your disruptor because he's pushing your opponent back with his Ember ability. Snivy and Lapras are next. Snivy uses Leaf Tornado, which is effective against mid-air and jumping opponents, so that's your attack stat. And then Lapras uses Surf for a wide range attack that can hit from long distances. This can be a disruptor because it does push back, but it also can be an attack because it hits long distance. Next up is Jirachi and Whimsicott. Jirachi is an enhancer because of course he is. I knew that before I even typed up this note that Jirachi the Wishmaker would have some kind of enhancement ability. He temporarily enhances your synergy burst and increases your synergy gauge, which is pretty good because that's what you use to use your ultimate attacks. Whimsicott also is an enhancer with substitution to protect you from long range attacks and small HP recovery. That feels like a disruption move because like it's creating like a temporary block for you. But hey, it says it's an enhancer. Croagunk and Sylveon are next. Croagunk is a disruptor with Toxic. He stops your opponent's attacks in place and decreases their defense. Feels like it should be an enhancement move, but because it stops your opponent's attacks and then decreases their defense, I guess that's why it's disruption. While Sylveon boosts your defense with Reflect and restores some HP, so Sylveon is going to be your enhancer. Pachirisu and Magikarp. Pachirisu uses disruption with Follow Me, which lures your opponent or lures long distance attackers in for close range combat. So very good if you're fighting somebody like Desudai Green Arrow, who's like hitting you with arrows from far away. Croagunk's going to pull them in with Toxic. Pachirisu is going to pull them in with Follow Me. While Magikarp uses Bounce to disrupt your opponent's combos while you're taking a lot of damage at once. So Magikarp finally has a role to play, and it's basically to pay a dummy to get hit and take that damage for you. Miss Magnus and Ninetales. Miss Magnus uses Ominous Wind, which boosts your attack as well as sends a slow attack towards your opponent. So she is I'm assuming a disruptor because enhancer because she's boosting your attack. And then Ninetales uses Will-O-Wisp to disrupt your opponents to bring those who are far away from you closer in. So Ninetales is going to draw again those long distance opponents in towards you. Rontom and Togekiss are next. Rontom uses Thundershock to disrupt your opponents to keep mid-air and jumping opponents back on the ground. So if they're jumping a lot, they're trying to stay in the air, Rontom is going to keep them grounded, while Togekiss uses Tailwind to enhance your speed and recover some HP. So Togekiss is going to be your enhancer. Again, we're getting very close. After we do all these, I'm going to get into my characters that I put in here. But I just want to go over all the characters that are in the game already. Next up is Farfetch'd and Electrode. Farfetch'd uses Fury Cutter for attacking opponents with the barrage attacks, and you can attack with them to rush your opponents. This is where you follow up with the combo after Farfetch'd attacks. And then Electrode uses an explosion to cause a disruption as a counter when getting hit by your opponent's attack. So Electrode is there to, like, if you're taking damage, it explodes, your opponent has to back off, or their combo stops, and you can now get back in there and maybe like take back the match. Next up is Dragonite and Victini. Dragonite uses Draco Media, which is a multi-hitting attack that spans over a wide area, giving you an opening over your opponent. So basically, this Dragonite is basically making it like, okay, this attack is nearly unavoidable. Get your opponent while they're trying to like defend or getting hit, basically. Whereas Victini uses V-Create, an enhanced move that makes all of your attacks cause critical damage, recovers a small amount of HP, and increases your synergy gauge. That's pretty OP, but Victini is a legendary. I think from the Black and White series, Victini, yeah. So, makes sense. Legendaries will have a good enhancement ability, which I do have some legendaries in my picks for Pokken Tournament too. Next up is Espeon and Umbreon. Espeon uses Morning Sun to enhance it by removing negative statuses and recovers HP. The less time on the clock, the more HP you recover. So just like the previous Pokemon we talked about, like the more health you lost, Finnegan, the more HP you're going to gain with Espeon. Whereas Umbreon uses Snarl to disrupt your opponent's synergy gauge and temporarily prevents them from landing critical hits. So Umbreon is also a great assist Pokemon to have because he's going to pause your opponent's synergy gauge from going up as well as stop you from getting any critical hits taken. Next up is Reshiram and Cecilia. Reshiram uses Blue Flare to unleash an almighty blue flame on your opponents. So another devastating technique from a legendary, could be a lot of damage. Whereas Cecilia uses an enhanced move called Lunar Dance to heal negative statuses, recover HP, and synergy gauge by a huge amount. Again, Cecilia is a good Pokemon assist as well. This is also the first time I've heard about negative statuses because as far as I know, Toxic doesn't cause a poison thing, and Stun Powder or like Shockwave doesn't like actually paralyze from what I've seen in my gameplay. But it would be interesting if that is added to Pokken Tournament, like where you can get temporarily poisoned for a period of time and you can get temporarily paralyzed for a period of time. That'd be pretty interesting. Next up is Magneton and Quagsire. Magneton uses Tri-Attack to perform a long-distance attack and useful against jumping opponents and mid-air opponents. So Magneton's pretty good. He's your first he's another one of your long-distance attackers with that can help you against some long-range fighters. Whereas Quagsire uses Mud Bomb to do a lot of damage to grounded opponents, and even if they attempt to block it, Quagsire's Mud Bomb is going to get through. So Quagsire is pretty OP as well. Like, you cannot block Quagsire's attack, at least if you're grounded. If you're floating or you're a flying opponent, I'm not sure if that's going to do a lot of damage or any damage at all. Next up is Yveltal and Latios. Yveltal uses Oblivion Wing to send down a destructive attack from the sky and seals off your opponent's synergy burst. Fucking again, OP. These legendary assist characters are strong as fuck, and we got some in Pokken Tournament 2 that I have planned out. While Latios uses Luster Purge to disrupt your opponent's movement and traps them in a confined area. So Latios, he doesn't like stop your opponent from moving, but he does block them off into like a certain area where they can't move or they can't escape. So they're now stuck in this little area, and you can do some damage to them. Next up is Mega Rayquaza and Mimikyu. I think these are the DLC characters. Mega Rayquaza uses Dragon Ascent to consume your synergy gauge, but it's worth it for a powerful attack. So you're going to lose all your synergy gauge by using Mega Rayquaza, but it's going to do a devastating damage. Probably even kill your opponent when they get hit by it. Whereas Mimikyu uses Disruption with play rough as it launches an attack at a nearby opponent and blocks them and blocks enhancements for them. So Mimikyu is gonna disrupt their attacks, and then it's gonna stop them from like getting any buffs from their own partners, which is pretty powerful as well. So it does seem like that's a weird combo for Mega Rayquaza, but Mimikyu's doing some good help with it. Next up is Mew and Celebi, 2 legendary assists. Mew uses an enhancement with miraculous power. Randomly increases your attack, grants critical hits, and increases your synergy gauge, while Celebi disrupts with time travel to create an unblockable area and forces phase shift when hit. It doesn't deal damage though. I forgot exactly what phase shift is, so quote me in the comments if you know what that is, or I'll have to find some gameplay of it because I forgot what phase shift is. But it's not like a major thing in the game. I think it's just specifically for Celebi. Next up is Cubone and Diglett. Cubone uses Boomerang to toss his bone and hit opponents at long range distance, and it can even pull opponents in who are far away. So if your opponent's already far away, that Boomerang's going to pull them back in. If they're close up, it's going to knock them back. Pretty fucking useful Cubone. And next up is Diglett, who uses Dig to burrow on the ground and attack opponents from below. Pretty self-explanatory. And what else do you expect Diglett to do? Diglett ain't about to jump off the ground. We're not gonna see Diglett's body ever. We don't know what Diglett looks like under the ground. I'm not sure we want to know. Next up is Froggear and Avi. These are the last 2 for Pokken Tournaments DLC. Pokken Tournament games. Froggear uses Water Pulse to hit opponents from long range. I would have gave him Water Shuriken, but we're going to take that away probably and just leave it as Water Pulse because I'm going to put Greninja in Pokken Tournament 2. And then Eevee uses Helping Hand to temporarily provide a boost to your attacks as well as gain a small amount of HP. So those are the characters that are currently in Pokken Tournament now. But, again, this video is about Nintendo. Where is Pokken Tournament 2 and who would I put in there for assist characters and who would I put in there for as main characters? I'm going to add one character from each generation. So it'll be generations 1 through 9. So 9 new characters. And then, so there's 2 assist characters. There'll be 2 assist characters from every generation. So basically, we're adding 27 new characters. 3 characters from each generation. And I cannot go back and forth. It has to be from that generation. And so, we're going to need an enhancer, disruptor, and attacker. And to be fair, the support types, I want them to all be spread out and, like, even. So, we're going to make them 6 and 6. Now, give me 1 second. I want to find that Pokemon that is that poison type with the guitar, because I want to add him on there, on this list. Okay, I found him, so now we're going to continue. So, from Gen 1, I feel like Primate just belongs in Pokken Tournament 2. He's already a fighter. He was the coolest Pokemon for me that I wanted on my team after Ash caught him. I hate that Ash gave up Mankey / Primate like almost immediately after he caught him in the next gym that he fought. It was a boxing gym or whatever, a fighting gym, but he gave him up way too fast. Primate was so strong, Ash, and he loved you. And he loved your hat too. I hate that Ash gave up Primate. So Primate is going in Pokemon Tournament 2 for my Generation 1 pick. For support, we've got Ivysaur. Because he's missing from the trio, we've already got Charizard, we got Blastoise. Maybe we can even add Venusaur as a support type, but I feel like we need the trio. But because he's a support type, that's why I chose Ivysaur. And we're going to make him an enhancer with Stun Powder to slow down your opponents. What really, the game uses Shockwave for slowing down your opponents, which would paralyze as well. But because we don't really have Bulbasaur's not using Shockwave, we're gonna go with Stun Powder. I was gonna do Sleep Powder at first, but there's no sleep mechanic unless we're gonna add those mechanics in here. Like if in Pokken Tournament 2, we're gonna add paralysis, we're gonna add poison, temporarily stunning your opponents. If we're gonna add sleep, then I say Sleep Powder. Next up is going to be, for support 2, is going to be Psyduck. Because why not? He's just as memorable from Generation 1. Everyone knows who Psyduck is. Everyone knows Misty Psyduck. Misty Psyduck is legendary. If he's not causing headaches, he's just being a headache for Misty. Anyways, I made him the Disruptor with Psychic because that was his strongest move in the game. It'll basically knock your opponents back, probably send long-range opponents flying. If opponents up close, he'll use Psychic to blast them back. If opponents far away, he can use Psychic to pull them in. Just like Cubone, that's what I would do with Psyduck. Generation 2, you already know it's Miltank. It just makes the most sense. Whitney's Miltank is the bane of a lot of players' existence. Yes, I know if you caught the fucking Machamp before you fought her gym, you already knew how to take her down, and very easily. But for those of us that did not have a fucking fighting type in Generation 2, by the time we fought her gym, we were getting killed by Rollout and Milk Drink, okay? She was killing us, okay? You got lucky to beat Whitney's Miltank, especially me. I know personally. But anyways, I feel like that'd be a great callback to our childhood, and especially using him, Miltank using Rollout as a special attack. Oh my god, the childhood trauma would come back like that for everybody. Anyways, support 1 will be Hitmontop because he is my favorite fighting type. I wanted to put him as a, well, Mankey's also my favorite fighting type. I mean, Primate's also my favorite fighting type. But Hitmontop just is cool as fuck. I wanted to put Hitmontop in the game, but because I said I'm only going to choose one character from each generation, I felt like Miltank just fits the bill. So I have Hitmontop as my Gen 2 support, and he's going to be an attacker with Triple Kick to create a combo because Triple Kick is basically what Hitmontop is known for, and again, his design is just too fucking cool not to show off. Support 2 is going to be Raikou. Because he didn't get much screen time in the movies or TV show, like Suicune had a whole movie with him and Celebi, Entei had a whole movie with himself and the Unknown. I know Raikou had one episode, but Raikou is also one of the 3 legendary beasts, and I feel like he needs to be in here. So I gave him an enhancer, and he's going to be, and he's with his ability Calm Mind, and he's going to heal some HP and boost defense. So that's what I chose for my Gen 2 characters to put in Pokken Tournament 2. So now we're going to move on to Gen 3. Swampert feels like he just fits here. One, because Mudkip was the starter. Was one of the starters I liked next to Trico, but also he's like a ground and water type, which is a pretty cool combo, especially with his mud abilities. But like how he stands up and he's like a tank. Swampert just fits here. Okay, Swampert would just look excellent in the Pokemon Tournament 2 roster. Support 1 is going to be Kyogre because he's my favorite legendary, as I said. He'll be a disruptor with Origin Pulse. Basically send a wave of water that interrupts your opponent's attacks and probably pushes them back or draws them in for close combat. So, obviously, I had to pick Kyogre because, again, he's my favorite legendary. It could have been anybody for support, but I had to go with Kyogre. And because I went with Kyogre, I had to choose Groudon for the combo. Since we have Rayquaza, it'll basically make a triple team combo of all the Gen 3 legendaries in Pokken Tournament 2 as assist characters. And we're going to make Groudon an attacker with Precipice Blades that'll consume all of your synergy gauge, just like Rayquaza does, for massive damage. So you're going to lose all your synergy, but you're going to get a really strong attack for it, basically. For Gen 4, I have a Pokemon I never used, but I like his design. It's called Magmar. He's the evolved form of Magmar, which was pretty cool. I like seeing an evolved form of Magmar. And like this volcano cannon thing he's got going, I was like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool to see how they use that in the game. So as far as design and fighting wise, I feel like he fits perfectly in Pokken Tournament 2. Support 1 would be Arceus as an enhancer with his ability Judgment. I basically made it like he has the same thing as I think it's Mew, where he temporarily boosts your attack, defense, doubles your synergy gauge. He doubles though, and he'll double your HP, but it can only be used once per match. You can't use Arceus twice. That's because I made him too OP. But I feel like for the god of Pokemon, he has to be OP. Now, you would think I'll use another legendary, especially Giratina, basically the devil version. But I went with Leafeon because he's just my favorite EV. Leafeon is so cute, and I love the fact that Leafeon was ever created. And as you can tell, I love grass-type Pokemon. So, again, not a grass-type trainer. Will never be a grass-type trainer. But Leafeon was just so cute. And I made him an attacker with Vine Whip or Razor Leaf. Just for, distance coverage. Razor Leaf can be, a long-distance attack. Kind of like Magneton's Tri-Attack. And if you have jumping opponents, maybe, the Leaf Wind or Razor Leaf or Vine Whip can, knock down opponents if they're in the air. Or Razor Leaf can do the same thing, I guess. Gen 5 is Conkeldurr. I might be saying that name wrong. But just design-wise, he looks like a tank. He has these two giant boulders under his hands as, walking sticks. And, the dude looks buff as fuck. So I was like, design-wise, Conkeldurr looks like he fits in Pokken Tournament 2. It'd be a heavy-looking weapon, and he can spin those around. Kind of like Ikaku in Bleach Rebirth of Souls or the Bleach anime. He can do some shit like that for his special move. Support 1 is Zoroark. I don't know much about this legendary. I know it can shapeshift and transform, but I made him a disruptor because of his design and impact on the story. But he's not going to use transform. He's going to use fake tears, which will drop your opponent's speed and defense stat temporarily. They'll just be the characters will just make a stun face when Zoroark starts crying, and then he'll make a snicker or something like that. I don't know. I thought that'd be pretty creative. Support 2 can be Boulder. It'll just be another dig technique for disruption. I couldn't think of a good support 2 for this generation. I don't know. I looked at Generation 5 and I was just like, there's not many that I like here. So I just went with those. Because I want to stay away from starters all the time too. Because I could have used the starters for supports. But I was like, let's try to get more creative. Gen 6 is going to be Greninja because, again, it just fits. And I feel like Greninja should have been in Pokken Tournament 1. And we do have Froggear as a support. But, again, for Greninja, I feel like he needs to be in Pokken Tournament 2, especially with his Water Shuriken technique. And so the impact of the story, and because it just seems obvious, Greninja is going to be my pick for Pokken Tournament 2's main character. For support 1, we got Zyrigade because of impact on story, and we're going to make him an enhancer with Safeguard. It'll block an attack, like he'll take the hit for you just like Electrode would, boost your defense, and temporarily increase your attack while also pushing your opponent back. So Zyrigade is going to do a lot for you, like most legendaries. And then support 2 is going to be Xerneas. Because again, the combo, because we've already got Yveltal in Pokken Tournament 1, he'll be an enhancer as well with aromatherapy to boost your attack, defense, and speed, along with some HP recovery. Again, the legendaries kind of get an OP assist boost, so I'm kind of keeping all of them in that kind of range. And because of his impact in the game that I played, Pokemon X and Y. I played Pokemon X. That was the game I had chose. Generation 7 would be Incineroar because I feel like that's just what people would want. 1, because he's already in Super Smash Brothers. He already looks like a fighter. He is a fire fighting type. And as far as I know, I haven't chose that many fire fightings in the game. I know we already have like Charizard and Fennekin. But I mean, why not throw another fire type in there? He's already a fighting type anyway. Support 1 is Alolan Raichu because I just wanted to use Raichu in the game. I couldn't choose the original Raichu again because I chose my Gen 1 pick. So I went with Alolan Raichu. He's going to be an attacker, and I gave him the move Wild Charge. He'll shoot a burst of electricity off his body, and it'll surround him, like it'll surround the user, like so anybody in close range will get hit by that like electric shock. I just feel like that makes sense. Like, you know, there's nothing really protecting the opponent, like, protecting the user aside from blocking. I mean, I guess you can push opponents back, but I like this for Alolan Raichu, like, protecting the user. Support 2 will be Alolan Vulpix because he's cute, so I made him an attacker as well with Powder Snow, which would be like a wave of snow. It'd be like surf, but, like, instead of a wave of water, it'd be like a avalanche sort of kind of effect. But again, Generation 7 was also hard to pick from because I didn't like a lot of their designs and like a lot of the characters. So I was like, And this is about the time I started falling out of Pokemon anyway. I still played Pokemon, but this is where I started falling out of it a little bit, like being into all the characters. Now, Generation 8 is the Pokemon I was looking for. Okay, Toxtricity is going to be the Pokemon we pick. Toxtricity, first of all, he's the egg that you get in Pokemon Zord. And second of all, like a poison electric type, and he always looks like he plays a guitar. And I want the original. I don't want the shiny version. I want the original. Toxtricity is the Pokemon we're choosing. I love Toxtricity. He is so fucking dope. And he also helped me win a lot of my fights. Okay, Toxtricity was the GOAT of all Generation 8 for me. Support 1 to be Thwacky. 1 because he's the Pokemon I chose. I started with what is that? What's his name? The original one? Oh god, it's gonna bother me now. Well, I chose his starter version. But Grookey is just too bulky. He'd have to be the fighter. But I already chose Toxtricity as my fighter. But if I didn't choose him, it'd be Grookey. Or maybe that was his name. Maybe that was the first starter's name. But, yeah. I mean, yeah, just kind of chose him. And then I made him an attacker with Woodhammer. It'll act like Boomerang for Cubone, where he can, like, toss his sticks forward and draw them back to either lure the opponent in or knock them away, depending on how far or close away they are. Support 2 will be Inteleon. This was just a random pick, but I felt like he'd be a good disruptor. He'll use Tearful Look to drop opponents' defenses and speed, kind of like Zoroark, where, like, he'll use fake tears, but it's a tearful look. And then when the opponent makes that stun face, you know, he'll also snicker or something like that. Like some kind of pose so we can, like, introduce that gimmick more than once. But I feel like Inteleon will be a great support. And lastly, for Generation 9, this was also kind of hard to choose because I didn't like a lot of Generation 9. I think Generation 9 is Pokemon Violet, which is what I have. And this is where I really wasn't feeling into the designs. But there were 2 fighters that are like clones of each other, and I felt like they would probably work. It's Armarouge and Surlarouge. I would still make them one character, but you can swap the skins. But see, the thing is, when you swap the skins, they have different move stats. So they'll still be 2 different Pokemon, but they'll take 1 slot. Kind of like, I think in Smash Bros. They do something like that, where like, at one point in one of the Smash games, you had Zero Suit Samus, and regular... Zero Suit Samus, and then Samus. like they were interchangeable, or like Link and or like Zelda and Sheik, like that. Like so, I was like put them in the same slot, but they can just interchangeable characters. So really, we put 10 characters in there, but they'll take the same slot as one because you could end up with either one. And they could have both been support, but I was like, that'd be kind of lame to put both of them as support. But especially when they're not legendary or something like that. So that's what I went with. I could have chose any of the starters, but again, I didn't really care for any of the starters. But since I did have to choose 2 supports, I chose one of the starters I started with. I chose Meowscarda. She's going to be our disruptor. She'll probably use play rough. It'll interrupt your opponent's attacks and provide you an opening for a combo. I could have put Meowscarda as the game choice character, but again, that's where I was going back and forth. I was like, do I want to use another starter? I guess these could be swapped out. If you wanted, we could swap Meowscarda with Armarouge and Surlyrouge, but then we were going to lose our support character too. I'll mention my support character too, but that's my only other change I guess I would do is like make Meowscarda the main character and then have those 2 be the support. But the second support I chose was Quaxo for his second evolution. I don't know the name of the second evolution, but it's the mid evolution between the duck. And I'll use his attack Liquidation as an enhancer to finally boost speed, health, and because another water Pokemon allows you to like double jump Poplio, I was like, let's bring that gimmick back as well so we can reuse gimmicks, and so he'll allow you to double jump in the air. So those are all my picks for Pokken Tournament 2. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of my picks. What are your picks for Pokemon Tournament 2? Use 1 Pokemon from every generation for the main character, and then use 2 starters from every generation for the support characters, giving you a list of 27 characters to put down in the comments below. And then maybe Nintendo will see this video and they'll be like, hey, people want Pokken Tournament 2. And we'll be like, fuck yes, give it to us now. We want it. Anyways, guys, that's all for this video. Pretty short. I just want to talk about my love of Pokemon, and specifically Pokken Tournament. And hopefully Nintendo listens to us. The Switch 2 just came out. That's why I put this video out now after just doing a game review. But again, this isn't much of a game review. This is us talking about what we want from Nintendo. And we want Pokken Tournament 2. I want Pokken Tournament 2. Give it to me, Nintendo. Anyways, guys, that's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys would be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado the Legendary Konjuis Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come.
So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.